What is up guys, it's your favourite Scotsman Ryan here, and finally I have gotten round to doing my review on the Razer BlackWidow X Chroma. As a sorry for taking so long, if this video manages to get 1000 likes in 3 days, I will give one of these away. So with that said, let's jump in and take a closer look. So the BlackWidow X Chroma is a refresh of Razer's BlackWidow Chroma from way back in 2013. Obviously there are a few upgrades to discuss, and in my opinion there are also a few downgrades that I would like to highlight. So the first thing you will notice when you take this out of the box is just how heavy it is. The design does look very familiar, but now we have a metal backplate that Razer claim is military grade. Either way, this adds plenty of weight to the X Chroma and gives it not only a solid feel in the hand, it now also looks very nice in that matte black finish. If you have never had the opportunity to utilise a keyboard with a metal backplate, then you will definitely love when you pick this up and feel just how premium it is. So let's talk about some of those changes while taking a look around. On the bottom, dead centre, you will find the Razer branding, which features those RGB lights and looks pretty sweet. On the top right hand side, we now have some LED lights, now letting you know when num lock, scroll lock and stuff like that is enabled, and this is definitely a welcome change as it looks way more professional. As there is no dedicated media keys, these can be found on the F1 through to F7. On the rear, you will find the usual non-slip pads to keep the keyboard in place, as well as some feet to raise it up to an angle if you prefer. We also have nice cable management channels that will allow you to run the cable however you wish, whether it be to the left, the right hand side, or straight through the centre. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the items that have been dropped from this revision, and the most notable is of course the macro keys, but for me, the most annoying is the lack of USB port, microphone and headphone jack. The latter I can definitely live without, but at this price point I really think that a USB port is a must if you ask me. Let me know your thoughts on that down below, as I'm very interested to see if you guys agree or disagree. If we take a closer look at the key switches, you will notice that they have been redesigned and in my opinion for the better. We now have the LEDs behind the key switch in their own shell, and this in turn allows the lights to shine a lot brighter, and I noticed just how bright they were the moment that I turned the keyboard on. The metal backplate also helps illuminate the LEDs and spread the light across the keys. The switches themselves also have been upgraded and now have a lifespan of 80 million keystrokes, which is pretty crazy if you ask me. When it comes to discussing my experience with switches and using keyboards in general, I always like to remind people that everyone's experience with mechanical switches will be totally different, so I definitely advise you to try and test one out first. Either way, the Razer green switches have a 50g actuation point and felt very responsive to me. I personally use Cherry MX speed switches, so the transition to these was a little difficult at first, but after a few games however I had zero issues at all with them. My main issue with using this keyboard came from the lack of the wrist rest. I have never utilised a keyboard without one, and I find it very uncomfortable to do so. Either way, the switches were absolutely fine, and for those who actually care about how they sound, here's a little sample. So let's briefly discuss Razer's Synapse software. Overall it is super user friendly and easy to navigate. You can make custom LED configurations and save your profiles for different games like MOBA and FPS. You can even give every single key a different colour and create your own custom layouts. You can also assign all of your macros as I mentioned earlier, and the process is pretty seamless. And as always, we have the usual included lighting patterns like spectrum cycling, breathing, reactive and ripple, etc. All the effects that we have seen time and time again. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Overall, the X Chroma brings many upgrades to the table for those looking to take the plunge, like the more solid build quality and redesigned switches. For me personally, having no USB pass-through isn't a deal breaker, but MOBA players may be very disappointed at the lack of macro keys. But as I said, you can utilise the Synapse software to combat this. The main question obviously is this worth $160 in the US and £140 here in the UK? Well, that is something you are going to ultimately have to decide after testing it out. For me personally, the lack of wrist rest just makes this unusable for me for long periods of time, as my wrists obviously are probably girly and very sensitive. So as always guys, if you have any questions about the keyboard itself that I maybe didn't cover, let me know down below and I will definitely get back to you. As always, stay safe, be kind to each other, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace!